Hello YouTube, and welcome to our Out of the Water special. In this episode we shall be preparing the hull and anti-fouling, preparing the prop and anti-fouling, as well as changing the oil. And perhaps most significantly, we'll be changing our blue battered old hull into an incredibly shiny grey one. But first, a little bit of background. So here we are in Shamrock Quay Marina in Southampton. We arranged for the lift out, and then, as is always the case, a reason that we couldn't be here meant that it got lifted out without us being here. So this is the first time I've seen it. I've just driven down from home, and so the first thing we're going to do is have a full inspection. So the quality of the fiberglass area of the anti-foul coating is in really good condition. It's better than actually I expected. However, this part not so much. This bit's the keel, and you can see the previous year's blue anti-fouling showing through under the red. See some of this flaky paint here, look. It's not much. There's a bit round here as well. And what we need to do is we need to clean it up a little bit, buff it off, just make sure that there's no loose flaking coating. We can't paint anti-fouling straight onto this, so what we need is a barrier coat. We're going to use International Primacon, which is a below waterline primer for anti-foulings. So just using a battery drill on slow speed, I'm just using a light sanding disc just to knock off the loose flaky paint. There's more than enough good coating on here for it not to be a big concern. So that's the first of what I suspect will be quite a few coats of paint we're putting on over the next few days. After a few years in the damaging UV light of the sunshine, all boats will fade. But on a dark coloured hull, it shows up really easily. You can polish them and the results can look quite good. But on boats over a certain age, that effect doesn't last more than a season. You can see the contrast between the sort of that shiny blue, the really nice reflective blue, which is the original colour on this, but that's never really been exposed to the sunlight, against the stuff that has, which is obviously on the higher sides of it, which is really looking worn and discoloured. We decided it's a choice of either a repaint or have a sticker put on, so that's the sticker. So it's a vinyl wrap. So we've been in this little pit before. This is where the speed log lives, and because we're out on the hard, when we take it out we don't get an inrush of water. But I thought whilst we were out on the water we would just check it. You don't leave it in when you are being lifted out in case they put the strap anywhere near it or there's damage, and obviously you don't want to anti-foul over the top of it. So this is the view from outside, and you'll note that the sounder's in front there, and there's the paddle wheel log. So the anode's wasted, but it's in good condition for the amount of time it's been on, so it proves it's working, but it needs to be changed, and it's dead easy. 2 Allen keys, and off she pops. So what exactly is your anode for? When different metals are in contact with each other and you put them in seawater, it sets off an electrochemical process that causes corrosion. Basically, when a modern boat is in the water, the metal parts are slowly dissolving. So in order to stop the metal parts of your boat literally fizzing away to nothing, there are 2 things you must do. One is to fit a sacrificial anode. These are lumps of a softer metal that's very easily corroded. And until recently, for saltwater, this metal was zinc. But Volvo are now only selling aluminium anodes for their sail drives. The second thing you can do, which is in order to reduce the electrical current flow and also to eliminate stray currents which may be from faulty electrics around the marina, is when you're connecting to shore power, you should use a galvanic isolator, and this is one of those. And it's upside down. I'll do that again. A galvanic isolator. We're using a product called Oracal 970 Rapid Air, which is designed for wrapping cars and boats. And the first task, according to the application instructions, is to clean all surfaces to which the film is to be applied with isopropanol. Next, roll out the film and cut with a generous overlap. Remove the backing paper and stretch the film equally over the part of the boat to be wrapped, applying the film with big equal swipes of a squeegee. For curved surfaces, deep drawn areas, borders and edges, the film should be carefully heated with a hot air gun in order to activate the adhesive. And once the film has cooled, it can be carefully trimmed. It took 2 guys just 2 days to complete the entire boat, including the 2 stripes, and I hope you'd agree, it looks pretty damn awesome. You do need to allow a 3-day curing time before you launch it, which just happens to be the perfect amount of time for me to put 2 coats of anti-fouling on. So we're going to start the anti-fouling today. And the first question is, what anti-foul am I going to use? Most cruising sailboats use self-eroding anti-fouling, but there are plenty of different makes and models to confuse the dickens out of you. Where you keep your boat makes a big difference to the fouling conditions, and you need to choose a paint that's going to work for you. I've settled on Seajet Shogun 33. It's proven to be the best anti-fouling for the areas that I sail in. So it's not the best necessarily just because it's the best for the areas I sail in, and we've proven that by having it. This will be the 3rd year running on this boat. So first job then is to give it a good stir, get all the solids out of the bottom. I change the colour every year so I can see the new paint is covering the old paint, but also when she comes out of the water we can see how well last year's coating fared. Last year was red, and this year it's the turn of black.
The colour of death.
So here we are, day 2, and you can see we've put a coat on, which is good, and now we're going to do the second coat. Around the waterline area we need to put some, is where it's thickest. Underwater, deep down, where there's not a lot of sunlight, we can get away with putting a relatively light coat on there, and we'll thin the paint suitably as well using the thinners, but it's anti-fouling thinners. It's number 3, or if you're using Seajet, it's A anti-fouling. The prop, we can't use soft self-eroding anti-fouling on the prop. It spins too fast and it'll just basically wear it away too quickly, so we're going to use a different kind of anti-foul on the prop. It'll be a spray. Right, time to take the oil out of the sail drive leg so that we can replace it, and the first thing we've got to do is take the bungs out of the top so that it doesn't have a vacuum and it can flow out of the bottom nice and easily. So there's the dipstick. See, we've got quite a bit in there, that's nice. Take that out, leave that out. And oil will come out. Hey, there you go. Quite quickly as well. This is one of those magnetic sump bungs, so we can wipe off these little particles that are stuck to the end, and there's not much on it actually, which is quite good. See if that one's the right one. That's a bit too big, maybe. It's hard to tell. It'll squeeze out, that one. And then we've got this one, which probably looks... Oh no, that's better. That's the one. That's the one. So there we are. We've fitted the new one, and that's it's fitted nicely in the groove. It is the right size. All is good. We are ready to put that back. And a little bit of thread locker. Just before we fill the sail drive leg back up, it's worth checking what oil you need to put in. The user manual for the 130SB and the 130SRB say the drive needs transmission fluid. Confidence has the newer 130SC, and the big red plate clearly states it should be 1540 engine oil. So in goes 2.9 litres of engine oil. So this is day 3, and we've just got some final tasks to do, and we're launching first thing in the morning. So let's get this anode back on. Use some Loctite thread locker. There you go, a little bit of that on there. That'll stop it unscrewing of its own accord. There's one there ready. And this one here. Third and final coat of paint around the waterline edge and up to the masking tape. While you're out of the water, it's a good opportunity to check the anchor chain. This final link before the swivel is not looking particularly healthy. One of the last jobs we've got to do is grease the seacocks. So you need a little stick with some raggy on the end, and you need some nice seacock grease, and then you dip the one in the other, shove it up the hole, and from the inside work the seacock backwards and forwards to get the grease embedded. So that's it, we are done. She's ready to go back in the water, with the one exception, one final job, and it's the best one of the lot. Good morning. It is launch day. Seacocks are closed, all four of them. Blanking plugs in, and we'll leave the hatch open because obviously when we launch, first thing we've got to do is look for leaks. Now we fill the leg up. We're just checking the bung plug to make sure there's no leak and there's nothing coming out of that. Anode's on nice. And I've got a handful of paint bits ready for painting the patches here, so once they've lifted it and these become exposed, we'll paint all the patches whilst it's in the crane slings. So she looks ready. All we got to do is wait. So just got to paint these patches up and then we're in the water. So that's us launched, all went very well, and I've checked around for leaks and any problems and opened all the seacocks and all is good. So that's it, we've done it.